Hey you guys, what's up? In today's video, I'm going to be testing out the brand new Urban Decay Naked Mini Smiley palettes. I have not heard anyone really talking about these palettes, so I was really excited whenever these showed up in the mail. Urban Decay did send me these palettes to try out for you guys. So in today's video, I'm going to be creating this eye look, and I'm also going to be showing you guys close-ups and swatches of all of the shades in the palettes. So I hope you're all excited about today's video. If you are, please make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you're not already. And yeah, let's go ahead and get started. So first things first, let's go ahead and do close-ups and swatches of both of the palettes. So these are the new Urban Decay Smiley Mini Naked palettes. First up, we have the Chill Happy palette. The packaging of these palettes is so cute, and then here are the shades in this one. This obviously is a more rosy and purple toned palette. There are only 2 matte shades in this palette, which kind of bothers me. The rest are shimmer, so I feel like this one's going to be hard to create a look with like by itself, because I personally like to put mattes in my crease, and with only 2 being in this palette and 1 a super light shade, I really wouldn't be able to do that. All right, so we're going to go ahead and swatch all of the shades. First up, we have Paz. Okay, that's like almost the same color as my skin tone, but honestly it's swatched really nicely. I thought it was going to be like chalky and kind of like powdery, but it was actually pretty creamy and soft, which is better than I remember the mattes being in Urban Decay palette, so that's pleasantly surprising. Then we have Modern Mystic. Happy Trap. Okay, this one did not pick up the easiest. It felt a little like chunky and glittery, which yeah, that's how it looks when swatched as well. Upper. Brainwave, and Fire. Ooh, that one swatched really nicely. Wow, okay. So the 2 matte shades and then this last shimmer definitely swatched the best. I'm so impressed with this red shade right here. Wow. Then we have the Mucho Happy palette. Once again, super cute packaging, and here are the shades. These look super fun. This palette has 3 mattes and 3 shimmers, which I definitely prefer. First up is the shade Psyched. That's like the same shade as this one in the other palette, so it's a little strange to me, but okay. Blast. Once again, the mattes are swatching pretty nicely. Partay. Another kind of like chunky, glittery shade, but it actually looks pretty nice. Spritzer. Oof, this one is very glittery and pretty similar to the last shade. Smiley. That one's not the most pigmented. And Cyber Smile. Like running out of room here, but ooh, okay. That one is really pretty. Okay, so here are all of the shades from both palettes. I didn't do the best swatch of the blue. I don't think I picked up enough of the shade, but that shade is so pretty. So now that you guys have seen all of the shades swatched, let's go ahead and move on to the demo part of this video where I'm going to create this eye look for you guys. All right, so the first thing I'm gonna do is prime my lids with my P. Louise base. So I'm just gonna tap this all over my lids. I'm not gonna set it or anything. I like my base to be a little bit tacky. So I think I'm going to do one eye look using both of the palettes, because I feel like these are just kind of like palettes that you would have to use another palette to create like a cohesive eye look. I just feel like looking at both of these, I wouldn't be able to create like a full eye look that I would actually like, because there are not enough matte shades in these for me. So yeah, I think I'm going to try and combine the palettes. Looking at the matte shades, there's not really many deep matte shades, so I'm getting a little nervous because I'm not really sure what kind of look I'm going to do. So I'm first going to go into this shade right here. This is the shade Blast from the Mucho Happy palette, and it's just kind of like a peachy shade. I'm going to just kind of tap this in the crease with a large brush, and then I'll kind of swirl the brush around to diffuse the shade. If I was actually creating a look and not just like reviewing these palettes, I would use another palette with these, because I just feel like there's not enough matte shades for me personally, and I don't understand why there's not any deeper shades in these palettes. Honestly though, this first shade has pretty good pigmentation. I feel like the mattes definitely swatched better than like Urban Decay palettes that I've swatched in the past. So now I'm going to take a little bit smaller of a brush, and I'm going to go into the Chill Happy palette, and I'm going to pick up this shade right here, which is just a little bit darker and more of like a rosy peachy shade, and I'm just going to try and blend this right under the first shade. This one doesn't seem to blend as easily as the first shade. I am noticing that, but it still has pretty good pigmentation. pigmentation. For a high-end eyeshadow palette though, I probably would expect a little bit more, but it's not like terrible. Yeah, not blending the easiest. So I'm gonna take a really tiny brush and I really wanna use the yellow. So I'm gonna pick up some of the yellow shade called Smiley, and I'm just gonna lightly blend this like all around the outer edges of the first shade that I put down. And I'm just gonna blend like very lightly because this is a very bright yellow. Okay, so now I'm gonna pick up the like nude shade over here. I'm just gonna kind of apply this right in the inner corner area to brighten it up. That's something that I always like to do even on an everyday basis. I just feel like my inner corner area gets like kind of dark. All right, so I always like to apply a little bit of concealer all over the lid just so the shimmery shades show up a little bit better. So I'm just gonna take a little bit of concealer on a tiny brush, and this does not have to be precise. I'm just using this as a base for the shimmer shade. I'm gonna pick up the shade called Happy Trap. The shade was a little like kind of chunky and glittery, which not my favorite type of shade to work with, but this is like the lightest shimmer shade. Normally I would put like a really light shade in the inner corner. Oh my goodness, there's a lot of fallout there. Wow. Okay, so I'm just gonna apply a little bit of this in the inner corner. Now I'm gonna take Spritzer from the other palette, and I'm just gonna put this all over the center of the lid. These first two shimmer shades are like super like chunky and kind of glittery, so it kind of just all falls on your face, which really bothers me. I wonder if these apply better with the finger. I'm gonna apply some with my finger, but yeah, I don't think that really makes much of a difference. Definitely not a very creamy formula. These are like a dry, shimmery formula, so that's why they fall out everywhere. Going back into the other palette again, I'm gonna grab the shade called Fire. This one did feel creamy when I swatched it on my arm, so I have a little bit of hope for this shade. Yeah, this one definitely goes on better with a brush, but the amount of fallout on my face right now is insane. Okay, I'm gonna just grab some of the mattes that I used. Not liking how this looks, but we're gonna just go with it. And I'm gonna try and blend back through my crease to kind of blend everything together, but honestly, I don't think we're gonna be getting much of a blend here at this point. Who knows? Sometimes I freak out about a look and then it ends up turning out okay, but now I'm just gonna blend the same matte shades that I used in my crease along the lower lash line. I'm also gonna pick up some of the yellow, and I'm just going to blend this right along the lower lash line as well. I think I'm going to take on a flat definer brush the shade Fire, which is a shimmer. I normally wouldn't put a shimmer on my lower lash line, but the shade is like kind of dark, so I want to apply this right on the lash line to deepen it up because I personally like a darker lash line. This totally like doesn't go with the look at all, but I really want to use the blue, so I think I might just pop this in the inner corner just for fun, even though that's probably a terrible idea. Yeah, it definitely does not go with the look. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and apply some mascara, and I will be back to give you guys my final thoughts. Alright, you guys, so here is the completed look. Honestly, in my opinion, nothing special. Peachy eye, we have a little bit of blue pop of color. I think it's fun. It's not my favorite look I've created, obviously. I feel like for high-end eyeshadow palettes, I would expect a little bit more. I think the mattes did perform pretty nicely, though. From what I remember in the past from Urban Decay palettes, I haven't always liked their mattes that much, but I feel like the formula in these two palettes was really good as far as the mattes go. These palettes are definitely missing the deeper shades for me. I just feel like there's not that much variety in looks that you can create without those deep shades in these palettes. These shimmer shades in this palette are kind of hit and miss. Some of them have a creamier formula and they go on really nicely. And then you have the other ones that are a little bit more of like a drier formula that are a little bit like chunky and just kind of fall out all over the face. Not a fan of those. So yeah, I think that these palettes are okay. Not my favorite. I think the packaging is cute, but other than that, I would not purchase these with my own money. I was sent these by Urban Decay. For me, these are more of like a collector's item to have since they are like these smiley palettes. I think the packaging though, adorable. It gives me kind of like 90s vibes. I think the color stories could have been better. I actually really like this color story from the, what is this, the Mucho Happy palette. The Chill Happy palette for me is just kind of boring. I feel like everybody does palettes like this, the rosy tones with the purples, I don't know. Kind of overdone, but I do like the pop of yellow and blue in this palette. As I said earlier, these are palettes that I personally would grab like another palette to use with these because there's not enough matte shades for me to create like a cohesive look that I would personally really like, especially because these don't have darker matte shades in them. So yeah, I would definitely use these with other palettes. So if you're looking to buy a palette that you can just create an easy eye look with, I wouldn't recommend these because I don't know, I feel like these aren't very beginner friendly as far as the shades that come in here, creating like a full eye look. So yeah, I would love to hear your thoughts on these palettes in the comments down below. Are you guys going to pick these up? I haven't heard anyone really talking about them. So I hope this video was helpful for you guys. If you enjoyed it, please make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you're not already. I will see you guys in my next video. Thank you so much for watching.